The book Showdown at Gucci Gulch, 1987, by American journalists Jeffrey Birnbaum and Alan Murray, delves into the development and passage of the United States Tax Reform Act of 1986. This significant legislation, signed by President Ronald Reagan, brought about a substantial reduction in the tax rate for millionaires and billionaires, lowering it from 50% to 28%. Subsequent laws enacted during the presidencies of Clinton and Obama aimed to moderate the extensive tax breaks for the wealthiest individuals in the country. The title of the book, Showdown at Gucci Gulch, references the informal name given to the hallway outside the room where the Senate Committee on Ways and Means conducts its hearings. This hallway is often filled with lobbyists representing powerful corporations, dressed in extravagant and expensive attire, eagerly awaiting the outcomes of the hearings. The title captures both the caricatured image of these lobbyists and the cynicism of lawmakers who perceive their struggle against the influence of lobbyists as a losing battle. In addition to detailing the passage of the Tax Reform Act, the authors shed light on the close ties between politicians in the United States and the special interests that provide funding for their re-election campaigns. They emphasize how politicians are often indebted to these special interests, which influence policy decisions in their favor. The book begins by providing a historical overview of income taxes in the United States. In the late 1800s, the government primarily relied on tariffs on international trade and sales taxes on everyday goods as its main sources of revenue. Unfortunately, this approach disproportionately burdened the poor, as sales taxes accounted for a larger proportion of their income. In 1895, politician William Jennings Bryan nearly succeeded in passing a law that would have introduced the first income taxes. However, the Supreme Court ultimately declared the proposed tax unconstitutional. In 1913, the 16th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified, paving the way for the implementation of the first income tax. The impetus for this new tax partly stemmed from concerns about funding World War I. Overall, Showdown at Gucci Gulch offers a comprehensive examination of the United States Tax Reform Act of 1986, while shedding light on the complex relationship between politicians, special interests, and the influence of money in American politics. During World War II, the need for funding led to the continuation of income taxes in the United States. However, in the 1940s and 1950s, as the threat of international war subsided, the government introduced a novel approach to tax reduction. Instead of simply lowering the tax rate, they implemented a system of targeted tax breaks for individuals and entities that met specific conditions. This paradigm of tax breaks sparked considerable debate among economists and the American public. In the 1970s, skyrocketing inflation rates brought the issue of tax breaks to the forefront, compelling Congress to further adjust tax policies. The proposed 1986 bill faced fierce opposition and underwent a detailed timeline of events, which the authors meticulously outline. In 1982, Democratic senators introduced the bill as the Fair Tax Act, and in 1984, President Reagan assigned Treasury resources to analyze the implications of tax reform, highlighting it in his notable State of the Union address that year. Although the Republican version of the bill underwent significant modifications, its central premise of relieving the tax burden on the middle class remained intact. Ultimately, the act was passed with the support of a Democratic House and a Republican Senate, with significant contributions from the House's Ways and Means Chair and Secretary of the Treasury James Baker. Interestingly, tax reform was widely perceived as a complex and highly partisan endeavor that seemed unlikely to succeed. However, the authors suggest that the bill's passage was facilitated by the divided nature of the House and Senate. As government branches clashed and struggled to find common ground, lobbyists stepped in and effectively added substantial tax breaks for the wealthy before Reagan signed the bill into law. Birnbaum and Murray conclude that the Tax Reform Act would likely have failed without the strong backing of President Reagan. His support played a pivotal role in its success, despite the initial perception that tax reform was an insurmountable challenge marked by complexity and partisanship. Reagan was a staunch opponent of tax increases, but he recognized the need to find alternative methods of increasing government revenue. In order to address the budget deficit, he believed that reducing tax deductions could be an effective strategy. Consequently, Reagan played a crucial role in advocating for what is widely regarded as the most significant tax legislation since the inception of the income tax in 1913. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.